The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary Related Entertainment.
Aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes, where each week on this show you'll find us talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support those with needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's Cabinet and Appliance Showroom, located in the Waikapu Bay Shard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. During this hour, we share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they're changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. And before we start on the show, I just want to say that I hope everyone had a happy 4th of July yesterday. It's kind of interesting to have a celebration like that on a Tuesday. Everybody thinks they've come to work on Monday today. And it's like, wait a minute, why are you doing that? Well, it's Monday. We always do this. No, it's Wednesday. And so thank goodness Gary was ready for us and our two guests showed up. So we all know it's Wednesday and the week is half over at this point. So welcome to the show. And we're going to start off the show with Pualani Enos, who is the Executive Director of Maui Hui Malama. Hi, Pua.
Aloha, Susie. Thank you so much for having us today.
You know, it's been so long since you've been on the radio, I almost forgot about you.
It has been a while. We've been restructuring the last year, so I wanted to wait till I had something a little more firm to describe to you today. So,
well, you know, when I you know, my prep, big part of my prep is going to the website, and I'm sitting there looking at your website, and I'm going, whoa. They've changed the whole thing. It's like, I mean, the basics are still there, but you do so much more.
So I appreciate that you noticed that from looking at our website, because we have spent some time restructuring that and expanding it. And I would say you're right. The basics of what we've always done remains the same, but some of the change that you see is that we're emphasizing some of the things that we always did that were a little bit more invisible. Mm-hmm. And then we aren't doing some of the things that people know us for alone anymore. So one of the things, you know, our mission remains the same, which is to inspire, nurture, and empower youth to pursue careers that bolster our island's economy, increase self-reliance, and provide for future generations. So at our core, we really want to model and inspire in all of our clients and their families a deep appreciation for this place and what we have and our responsibility to nurture it and take care of it. And one way that we do that is, which is a bit of an expansion, is that we're passionate about creating new pathways for diverse high-needs students who've fallen behind conventional educational standards and approaches. So we help them to build personal pathways that empower youth to successfully navigate their journey as they adapt, grow, and excel to make a positive impact in their career and personal life. So while we've always done this to some degree, when we used to have all-day programs and we served as an alternative school, we were able to serve a certain number of students more for more hours, and it was somewhat of a replacement of regular school. Now what we do is we supplement and augment services not only at other schools but other social service agencies. So what we've come to learn over the past decade since I've been there is that there are so many great resources and services: educational, social service, extracurricular, nutritional, health, sports. And as kids get older, middle school and high school, attendance is harder to achieve for those programs. Initially becoming part of those programs, as well as follow through. And then what we were seeing among our older students is even those that were very capable and had a lot of potential didn't have a lot of practice around initiating, trying something new, and then following through with something that was unfamiliar or difficult. And what we were finding was, even when we were successful at helping them to achieve their degree, GED, translating that to the next step was a challenge for many people. And because our culture has changed so much, truthfully, middle school to high school youth oftentimes don't respond to their parents' guidance and strict rules and routine the way they used to when I was growing up. So I did things because my mom said so.
Right. That was enough.
There wasn't, I got the glance in public and I knew what that meant. And we all know what happens at home with certain parents when I heard an older uncle talking about it at a youth conference. There's we didn't have timeouts. We had one time.
One time. There you go.
And we were trying to transition this entire time of how do we prepare our youth, because they had fallen out of other systems and they weren't going to catch up with that sprint. How are we going to get them prepared for the workforce? And if college was a part of that, great. But it isn't true for everyone. And the cost of college and then the return is just not for everyone.
Right.
So we're trying to go, because there's so many great college prep programs here that we didn't need to supplement that. So, but what we were finding was there was just a big gap of how to get folks, even who have gotten their degree and who did well in high school, how to transition them to adulthood. And because parents don't have always the same influence the way they used to, kids that age are just not going to just do because they're told. It's a very different, and the way they're brought up learning is about inquiry and kind of challenging. What we're finding is that what's lacking for employers, by talking to a lot of employers, is the ability to listen, to follow direction, to admit what they don't know, to go through training. And I think while we all talk about listening to our elders, and my experience has been the same with even my contemporaries and colleagues, when an older person tells them, this is how you should do it, it's often the response, oh, that's so old school, we don't do that, we're innovative. But there's no place for listening and learning anymore. And it's embarrassing to say you don't know, especially simple tasks like how to answer the phone or how to make a phone call or how to file. And because I think so much of our education is built on experiential learning and project-based, which of course is very valuable, that sometimes just that the rote tasks are not as easy.
Right.
They just don't have experience. Even things like, singing Hawaii Pono'i. In Hawaii, every adult will know to stand up. And even if you don't know all the words, to at least try and sing along or read the paper or not. But to wear a hat or sit down or laugh is just not something that's socially acceptable, right? But if you don't do it every day and no one's kind of walked through with you, I think what happens is we see young people or even older, like young adults, they look so disrespectful and they look like they don't care. But one thing that we believe is that it's a lack of awareness and a lack of presence and understanding. So our new approach is really about, why do we do these things? What does appreciation look like? What does it mean to be someone that people want to hire and want to be around? So lucky for us, we have so many great resources in Maui that our first approach with this is really to be the hub of community services so people can come to us and explore the concept of engaging with other resources or new communities. I don't know if it's just an island mentality, because I've worked in cities where people really stay with their people and they do things that their people do. And so to try something completely new is hard and scary. And so that's kind of, we help with those transitions around readiness so that people aren't embarrassed. We will go through with them, this is how one behaves in these areas, and then we take them and we support them, and we try and build huis also so that they have their own support network. But then the idea is that we plant the seed of this is what it means to be a part of. So one of our partners is Lei'ulo'okai Paddling Club. Another partner is Nahanona, which is a halau, Nahanona Kulikeo Pi'ilani, and Bailey House, which I know they're going by the Historical Society,
right.
Maui Historical Society. And So what we do is, while kids could join those things on their own, it's hard as a parent to get someone somewhere at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and make sure they have their towel and their paddle and this and that and the other. And so we really just try and fill the gaps. So what's nice is that instead of us trying to find our own programs, we try and find healthy environments where our youth will be around a very diverse group of people who work but also enjoy our place. A lot of our youth too, because of technology, which I know is a great thing, aren't really connected to nature and don't have as much exposure to art and music. So we also try and have them experience different places with art and music so that it will encourage them to kind of tap into their own creativity. And instead of comparing themselves to other people with this personal pathway framework, it's really about where am I today? And what are my family's values? Where do I want to be? What has gotten me here? And the good things that I've done? What are some things that have been struggles for me? And to really create an intentional plan, which sounds very simple, but most of us really don't plan past next weekend.
I was going to say noon today.
It's just that busyness. Or as adults, we actually do plan. We just don't realize we're doing it.
Right.
But because people don't have the same space and time, to cook together, to clean together, to do gardening together. And some families are great at it. And so we don't have to fill that void. Everyone has a different need. But part of it is we want to support working parents, or parents who are busy, or parents who are taking care. It doesn't mean that they're dysfunctional. They just don't have the space and time. And it's amazing how sometimes just a ride, or like being able to go take your boy to go get tennis shoes because they need running short shoes for junior lifeguard, but they have really big feet and there's no shoes in Maui to fit them. It's those little things that we try to do, but only when parents want it. So I would say we used to be in a place where we really wanted this ethos of you're going to contribute, you're going to do good work, you're going to take care of your environment. And now it's basically, this is what we have to share with you. So if you are also interested in these things, I'm sure you do some of that on your own. How can we supplement? But we are a very temporary in terms of the services we provide, like direct services, but we will be there throughout your lifetime around having someone to think your problems through with, to make a plan, and then to try it. Because it's all about, setting the goal, taking taking advantage of a resource, dealing with whatever challenges come with that, and go through the hills and valleys so that they'll learn how to do that on their own. But working and contributing are just values that we have. So, and it's easy to say those things. It's another thing to kind of put your time and money on the table with that.
Right. So now, do you still do the educational piece as far as classroom?
Well, we support the public schools and McKinley and other schools who have the program. So we're no longer a 4140 school. So people have to be enrolled with another school or be homeschooled. And then we can help support with any kind of tutoring. A lot of times it's homework help and just how to be prepared, how to stay focused, showing up. So we do a lot of tracking.
I see.
Did you show up for school today? Did you get this done? If not, why? What help do you need? And many kids, once you're kind of on them, they'll just do it.
Right.
And then there's those kids that there's some real reasons why it's not getting done. And then we just try and figure out what is already existing that we can help access. And then if not, we'll fill in temporarily. But it's all about them learning how to find those resources themselves. So we really no longer just kind of give a service. We have them work through, what do I need? How do I find it? How do I best utilize it? And then how do I appreciate it? By demonstrating, like, you gave me something, so I'm going to make the most of it. So there's that kuleana part of it. I think that I'm sure is the undercurrent of everyone's programs, but we really emphasize that there's a give back.
Wow, this is amazing. It's time for a break already. I can't believe it, Pua. We'll take this short break and we'll be right back with more about Maui Hui Malama.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our nonprofit executive directors to find out what's happening in their world, which today, for the first half of the show, we're talking with Pua Inos, who's the executive director of Maui Hui Malama. We're talking about some of the changes that have taken place, and at the beginning of the show, we talked about how it's been a long time since we've seen Pua, and a lot of things have changed over there, and one of the things I think that intrigues me is how you're keeping kids in school for the most part. That's part in the education process in the DOE system. Whereas before they basically had dropped out of that, and you were picking them up and trying to help them at least get their GED and on the road to something beyond high school. But this is going a lot further. This is great.
Oh, thanks, Susie. Yeah, we're really trying to focus on transitions. So it might be from elementary school to junior high to high school, or high school to work and college. And there are so many programs that do to college that we don't really need to do that. It's not that we really hook people up with those programs that already do all that. UHMC actually has so many support for local kids to join the school, and then we can help identify deficits, provide specialized tutoring, hook them up with counselors if more is needed. And we really serve as the support and the tracker that those people actually doing the work don't have the time or maybe bandwidth to do. And we really appreciate, at Maui High, I've been working with Nadine Gushilo, and she has so much knowledge about what the kids need and working. So what we're finding is when we can work with others and offer how can we be supportive, they know what the issues are. They have some ideas, they know what they have covered, they know what they can't do, and then we can work together to just kind of figure out what is that tiny piece, because Huala Mai works there as well, and so we make referrals and we ask for their help because they have a lot of information. The same would be with the university. Manaya Kalani is a new program they have there. We've worked for a long time with the financial aid and the other Kuina number of programs. So it's nice because rather than a partnership, so anyone who's listening today, rather than a partnership where we decide how to compromise and do things, it's basically people do what they do. And they let us know there's one piece that's just not fitting. There's a little gap. So we really fill gaps, and we can't promise that we'll do it forever, and I can't say we can scale it out to thousands of people yet, but without piloting and testing it, right, we don't even know what people need. Right. So basically we know we're dealing with some really complex needs that involve housing, basic needs, not being in crisis, not using drugs, not being violent. I mean, there's a bunch of things that, and unfortunately our kids are really pressured out to do a lot of the things that probably aren't the best thing for them. Right. And we have a lot of working parents and busy parents or taking care of grandparents that kids have a lot of time on their own. So one thing that we can do is just help work with parents. And sometimes I've worked with 3 families, and while I'm sure the youth would be super upset with me, it was really a matter of just taking away their phone and kind of disengaging from social media. Yeah. There was a lot of stressors, because not everyone can manage those relationships. And it's not just the texting, it's all the other things that you can't map out. But they're hearing and seeing some pretty damaging things. Right. And then they kind of have the freedom to do damaging things that they can't take back. And sometimes that disengagement is just a breath of relief. And
Right.
parents, it's so unpopular that most parents just aren't, they think it's like cutting off their arm, and it feels that way for sure. But I've just worked with parents, and I don't even really need to work with the kids. And, this kind of not this limited intervention as well as just a longer term support. It does require trust because I need to know kind of, and they need to be willing to share.
Right.
And asking for help is hard. I give a lot of credit to all of the folks who come to our programs because no one wants to admit, right?
And that comes to my next question, and that's referrals to your program. Parents can refer.
Oh, yeah. So we provide a lot of support to parents too. So that's a little bit of what oftentimes we'll just work with parents, and we don't have to work with the kids if they don't need it. So parents do need to be willing to engage with us and share with us. And then we can come to a decision of what makes most sense. And then partners, counselors, you could, anyone that knows them, a coach could refer. And I think what's different is they don't have to have a synthesized issue or problem or have a solution yet, because that's what we do with people. So we do an intensive assessment of where did you come from? How did you get here? Where do you want to go? And that just takes some time. Or we can start off with, they'll do some, like get tutoring or get an assessment, and we'll do something that they need done. And then they decide, is that all they needed? But the idea is this, I think the one thing that's kind of unique is that we're talking about the long haul of not just where you're going to go to school and where you're going to work, but what do you want your life to be? And create this process of creating a personal pathway, we hope will help parents to parent their kids to be able to intentionally find a path and purpose and follow through. And that kids would just learn how to do this, because I think things are so structured for them, and everyone sees college as the final. But most people really don't think past that point and just getting into college.
Right.
But if you have nothing that you're getting to, I would argue that's probably why we have such a huge dropout rate of college.
Right.
We're not finishing.
It's
kids,
all about going to college, not finishing. And why are you going to college?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it supposed to take you?
And employers talk about that too, that we've talked to, is about getting the job, but the idea of keeping it is, and so we're not promising we can help people keep the job, but we're saying that's where our emphasis is. What do you need to do to be the most high performing worker and make yourself invaluable? And part of that is caring. So we aren't a good place for people who just don't care about other people or themselves, and we'll just say it's just about me, and and that's okay. I mean, everyone has a right, and I honor that, but we're really about people who they do care, and they just don't know how to express it.
But through your work with these they're not children anymore, they're adolescents, they're teenagers, they're young adults. Do you see an aha moment?
Yes, and that's kind of what we're trying to figure out, is what will expedite that. And is it possible to even, because it does seem to make a difference if they aren't already at a place where that light is on. And so that's why I think a lot of family members don't realize, if you support your child fully by giving them a car and insurance, and you pay for everything, and they pay for their cell phone, and no matter what they do, you're going to pay for them, there isn't a whole lot of incentive. I mean, would any of us
Right.
have gone to school or gotten a job if we didn't have to? I don't think so. I don't know. So part of that is working with parents to realize that being that unpopular parent and have your kids be really upset with you sometimes is part of the natural evolution of things. And sometimes it helps a parent just to have someone else in their corner, because it is the worst to be I'm definitely the mean mom with all of my kids, not my kids at work, but my kids at home. They always say, you're the meanest. We don't have cell phones. They don't have a lot of things, but it's not just to not give them something, right? It's because I have a reason, but it's not pleasant a lot of times, and other parents definitely judge me.
Yeah.
And so to be with parents, and I think when your kids are struggling, it's such a reflection on parents that it's embarrassing for them, but they would be surprised how many other parents are in the same boat, right? I mean, so I think part of it is providing a support network, and for parents to really acknowledge they are such a heavy peer influence. It used to be 50-50, and now it's like 85 peer influence and 15% any other adults. That's what the data's showing, and you can disbelieve it, but I think a lot of parents are feeling that heat of, so we got to band together. So we support parents, we support coaches, we support service providers. If you have someone that you know has potential and there's just these little gaps, especially if you know what the gap is, they just need a pair of glasses or they need a backpack or a ride here. We can do some of those unconventional things in a limited space but we really highly customize, which is hard for those service providers who serve hundreds of people.
I think it's interesting that throughout what you've been saying here this last half hour, you've talked about working with the parents. A lot of the parents didn't have this when they were growing up. I mean, they're coming from an area where they don't know these things. And so you can't really blame them for not, translating that to working with their kids. And so working with the parents now, I mean, you're working with two generations.
Yes, and I think that's what is a little bit unique too, is a lot of providers just don't have that bandwidth, because they do a lot of content and they do great work, but to try and spread themselves so thin, and the parents really do, like, I have office hours and I do intakes at 8:00 on weeknights because people work, or I'll come in at 7.
Right.
And I move my schedule around a lot because I accommodate working, or I'll go to someone's house because they're taking care of their grandma, or whatever the issue is. But we're different because we can. So if we can do that part and other big services can do those parts, then it's a way that we can leverage everyone, and the partners we work with seem appreciative. Yeah. And we can also be there, and I can be the heavy. Like, if you're the paddling coach, like, you don't really want to be screaming at someone about not singing a song. you want to have fun with them, but I can go as a makua and say, you folks need to take this seriously.
Right.
And and for them to give me that bandwidth and let me do that there, I really appreciate, because I'm different than most. So it's part of it's accepting my difference, but I think then I can display it's okay to be diverse and have.
Right.
I mean, part of it's taking things seriously. We're in a time where being modern, I think, is often equated with battling or not following the rules. But in a civilized society, we have to follow rules sometimes.
Exactly.
You don't really know how to bend them unless you know how to follow them. So, but I do appreciate this time, and anyone who is more interested, I think we're at a place that you would need to just call us and we would talk it through. And if we're not the right place for you, our commitment is to try and find the place that is.
And to call you, they want...
So our phone number is 244-5911, and anyone who answers the phone is ready to do an intake. And then you can check out our website. But again, I think what I would suggest right now, and then for other providers, they could call me directly, at the office. And
And your website is?
mauihui.org.
How simple can you get? That's perfect. Pua.
Thank
Wow,
you.
this has been great. I
Thanks
appreciate
so
you coming
much.
on
Thanks for having me.
sharing this. I mean, it's like a whole new program, but started from what you've been doing over the past, what's it been, 40 years that Hui Malama's been around?
45. So we've tried to keep some of the, we still support GED. We still support all of those things. We're just not doing everything in-house. And we're really, we're doing what we've always done, is just to really work with others who do things very well.
Right.
So we don't have to try and replicate. So yeah.
Terrific. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pua.
Thanks.
Have a great week.
Thanks. You too.
Aloha.
Allah.
The second half of the show, we are going to talk story with Cassandra Abdul, who is the executive director of Nahalio Maui. And Cassandra, we spent last Friday together at the Housing Summit, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Did we learn anything?
I hope so.
Actually, maybe it's not what we learned, it's what hopefully we let other people learn by what we said.
Yes.
The journeys we've made in our businesses that had to do with affordable housing.
Absolutely. And it's a great opportunity because there were people there that are not directly involved in affordable housing or construction or development. And I think for them to learn about that gives you a better understanding of how it works, why it isn't working, and perhaps ways for us to improve what we're doing.
Right. We keep hearing the mantra, build more, build more, build more. And it's like, well, we're trying.
It's hard to do when you have one hand tied behind your back.
Exactly. And I think Roy Katsuda from Hale Mahaolu said it best when he said, it's easy to build rental housing for affordable rental housing. All you need is land, water, money, permits. What was the last thing? I forgot. And it's like, yeah, if you've got all four of those things, you're there. I think he was talking about partnerships too.
Yeah, and if you live in a perfect world,
Yeah.
which unfortunately we do not.
Right. But I have to say, he's done a pretty good job of
has.
jumping in there and taking care of things. And, he's going to be missed when he retires in October.
Yes, yeah, he's an amazing man, and he's
Yeah.
done terrific things at that.
I can't
Their
imagine
program.
what their job search committee must be going through trying to fill those shoes.
Those are giant shoes.
They are. They are. And they've got, I think, when is it coming up this Friday? They're doing the blessing of the county housing upcountry.
I believe so.
And that affordable rental project, it's a county owned project, but I think Halemahaulu has the management
Right.
for that
Right.
project. And right across the street, they're building their new project. So, wow. I don't even want to think about that. I'm happy with my 16 houses, and I'm trying to keep those things going straight. And you've got exciting news, because now, I think last time we talked to you, you were getting ready to close on the purchase of, what was it, 12 lots?
12 lots in Kahoma and Lahaina.
And you've done that, and
Yes, we closed at the end of March, and I am now working with an architectural firm. And on Friday, I got the first schematic plans.
wow.
And the plot plans, which sites the houses on each of the lots that we're going to build. Unfortunately, I'm going to ask for some changes.
Well, I think first time through, this is a new contract for you to be working with a new architect, because
Yes.
actually building houses is not your main thing, or at least it hasn't been until now.
It's interesting. When we first started, this is what the plan was at Nahaleo, Maui. We were going to buy lots and build homes.
Oh, really?
Yes, and then the mortgage market and the housing market imploded. And all of a sudden, and nobody was doing that, and what was coming up was all of these homes that were being abandoned and foreclosed. And so we nimbly changed direction, and that's where we started. And today,
Interesting.
we've got 32 of those homes. And in the interim, we bought one lot, and we're actually able to build one brand new out of the ground home. So the organization had that experience.
Interesting.
And now we've changed again. The market has moved up so much that even it's not affordable for us to buy even at foreclosure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the last home we bought, I believe we paid $475,000 for.
And in time you put some
And
time
I
and
have-
money into fixing it up,
I
making
have
it
bids
proper.
that run between $60,000 to $102,000 to renovate that home,
Well, so you're between $500,000 and $600,000.
and we would like to sell it in the neighborhood of $400,000 or less.
Oh my gosh!
So it's a real challenge. So you can see that it's gotten too difficult to do foreclosures. So this timing to get these 12 lots is just
Perfect for you.
Right, and we're really looking forward to it.
So, what are the options for like a house that goes into foreclosure in that price range? I mean, is that somebody's going to buy it and live in it as is, or it becomes a buyer's thing, not?
I believe so, but there may be investors that still do that. If you believe that the market is still moving up,
Oh, and you don't have to do
and
affordable.
you don't have to do
Ah,
affordable,
I
you
gotcha.
can still make a profit. But we make it affordable
Right.
and subsidize
That's the
quite
piece.
a bit of the price.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the piece that's missing. So we're going to start seeing more and more of these foreclosures come back on the market as market-priced houses.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time for another break. Seems like it's only 2 breaks, but it seems like, well, whatever. Let's take the break, and we'll be right back with Nahaleo Maui.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
Oh, we are back. Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our nonprofit executive directors about what they are doing in their worlds, and each nonprofit has a world of its own, so to speak. We talked earlier about how Cassandra here from Nahaleo, Maui, was on a panel along with, there was a bunch of people on the panels at that housing conference on Friday, and all had good information to share.
They did.
It was good information, but it was not good information. How do you say that?
Well, we talked about the challenges
Right.
that we face in being able to deliver affordable housing or just housing itself in Maui County. So we know what the problem is, and we are coming to the realization that we have to change the way we do things if we want to be able to deliver more housing. I think the challenge is now that we know that and we have some ideas of how we can make those changes, how do we actually implement changes so that it's effective, it gets done, and we do deliver more housing.
And that's the key point. Can it be done in a relatively quick manner? Nothing works fast.
The way things run right now, we know doesn't work. It takes way too long. It could take you easily 10 years to take, without entitlements, land that is zoned agriculture, to get it all the way up to the point where you can actually start building houses.
Right.
And that's way too long, way too expensive, and that's a large part of what contributes to the high cost of housing here.
Right.
So we know that we need to change the way that we do things.
For Lokahi, I like finding property that's in a residential area that is large enough to hold, what's a good project, 6 to 16 houses.
Yes.
And that you think, is, and I think when I did my presentation, I started out talking about how it seems like it's a natural. It's already got sewer, it's got water, it's got electricity. What can be difficult about it? Well, that's when it all starts to fall apart. You can't use any of what's there. Well, the sewer is there, but you got to go through all the testing and the funniest thing about this whole building on that property was watching the video of the sewer line. It's like, have you ever watched something like that? I mean, they stick this camera on a snake down into the sewer line, and it's like you're looking for holes in it or blockage or any of that kind of stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking, this must be like a video of an intestine.
I think it is.
Anyway, how did we get on that? But let's get off of that and let's talk about your Kahomo project. So now you've got the property, as you said before the break. You've been working with an architect, and there's obviously going to be some changes as you work through that. But in the meantime, you're working with folks from your wait list, I would think, who have applied. And now the process you've got a 4-step process for getting into your program.
We do.
Okay. Tell us briefly about that.
Okay. There are 4 steps. The first step we take is to invite people to one of our homebuyer seminars. They learn about Nahaleo, Maui, and they can determine whether or not they are interested in pursuing our program. We do sell leasehold with a sustainable lease of 99 years that's renewable for another 99 years. However, not everybody wants to buy leasehold. So at that point, if they're still interested, they can go to get a qualification by a lender of their choice. They can take an 8-hour course. that Habitat for Humanity does, and also Hale Mahaolo provides those courses. Then they come in and meet with our housing coordinator, and that at that point we go through all of our documents in more detail. So we want to make sure that they understand what they're getting into. Once they complete that, then they are on our qualified buyer list. And when a house is available for sale, everyone on the list is notified. Not everybody is interested because they may want to live up country, and a house we have right now might be in Kahului. And on the Kahoma project, people who work or live in West Maui will have a priority in terms of being able to buy one of those homes. But that's basically the four
Right.
steps.
Do you have a target price for what you want to try to come in at when that house is finished?
Well, I do in my head, but
You're not going to tell us.
yeah, and the fact that I don't even have my plans
Right.
means that I don't know what the cost of
Right.
the houses are. And we do heavily subsidize our homes. However, we have to do it in a way that we continue to be viable as an organization.
Gotcha. Right. Now,
Yes.
what's the AMI for that project?
Okay, for Nahaleo Maui, we have 8 homes that we will sell for families that earn less than 80%. I'm sorry, between 100, let me go back the other way, from 80.1 to 100% of the area median income. And then we will have 4 homes for families that make from 100.1% to 120% of the area median income.
So your range is somewhere from the 60,000 per family to roughly 90,000.
And one of the things that actually worked out well for us is that this project was set, so the AMI we are following is for 2016,
Right.
not 2017, because there the values went down by about 10%.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's significant.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's ours were 2016 as well.
Yeah.
And that was a tremendous jump from 2015.
Yes, it went up
Yeah,
there, in
yeah.
the right direction, but this year it's gone down.
That's so 8 and 4. Now your timeline. You're hoping to break ground.
I would love to be able to break ground by the end of this year. I'm
Okay.
not sure that we will.
Okay. And that's all dependent on the plans.
And also, we were very fortunate. The County of Maui Affordable Housing Fund, they've been very good to us. We got a grant for half of the cost of the lots, and we were also given a second grant for $660,000 to help with some of the costs for the 12 homes, which obviously that's not enough to build 12 homes.
Right. Okay.
But part of it is the grant process and getting the funding. We're in the process now of acquiring our 12 water meters that have doubled in cost since
Right.
last
Right.
year.
9,000 apiece or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, it's gone up to over 12,000 apiece.
Oh, it is now.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
So, so on that, what we try to do is work with the grant process, and we request the funds for reimbursement in advance. Once we have those funds, then we can go ahead and pay the county for the water years.
Right. I see.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that one thing is contingent on another, and
Right.
we also have to go out and get our loan for the construction.
Right.
And I can't do that until I have my housing costs.
Right. Right. That's true. So the project is on a piece of property that a developer bought, and they have done the infrastructure. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So you don't have all the civil work to worry about and the
No.
plans for that and so on. That to me is what took us the most
That's huge.
time.
Yes.
Yeah. And so having that, you're basically just going into a lot and building a house on it.
Correct. The most we'll have to do is maybe level out a little bit more on the house pad. But basically, all of that work has been done by the developer.
Boy, that's great.
And they gave us the lots at just an absolutely amazing price. West Maui Land has been very good
Right.
to Nahaleo Maui and to Habitat.
And the habitat, right?
Yeah,
Now,
they bought 10 lots.
and the whole project is based on an affordability plan going up to 140% of affordable prices.
They may go up to 160, and
Oh.
it's actually workforce housing.
Oh, workforce housing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
which is a little different
Right.
than affordable housing.
true.
Although we seem to use it interchangeably when we're talking about
Right,
it.
and we do. I mean, even on the county level, you see the contracts coming out, and they seem to be somewhat interchangeable. So, but to me, anything that can help us get folks into their own homes, whatever it takes.
Absolutely. And you know what it has? We build houses, but that's not what this is about, because what it is about, the people that live in the houses with their children and the tremendous positive impact it has on our community as a whole. Even though you're building a house for an individual family, it affects everyone.
Right,
Yeah.
right, for sure. Now you've got an event coming up here, gosh, next week.
That's right.
This is a first for you.
It is our first annual charity golf tournament. We're excited.
Whoa. And this is going to be at the McKenna Golf and Beach Club.
Yes, and this is private, so a lot of people, there's a lot of pent-up demand. People would love to play this course.
Of course, yeah.
So we're hoping that helps us do a good job.
Get a big turnout.
Yeah.
This is Sunday, July 16th.
Yes.
Shotgun start at 8:30. You've got, let's see, I don't think I have any of the details on the actual tournament. Is it a four-person team or?
It's 4-person team. It's going to be a scramble.
Okay.
And here I am. I sound like I know what I'm talking
Yeah, you
about.
do.
But I know absolutely nothing about golfing. So we are going to, it includes a full breakfast, a buffet luncheon, and entry into our hole-in-one contest.
Oh, you got a big prize?
$10,000.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that incredible?
That
Thank
is.
goodness for insurance.
Yes, yes.
And then we also have on 3 other holes, we have the closest to the pin, and they have gifts also, prizes also. So 8:30 for the shotgun start. Breakfast will be served at 7:30, and the club's driving range is open at 7:30 also.
Gotcha. Now, is there's no auction or anything like that as
No.
part of it? This is just about golf.
This is just a great fun day for our golfers out there on this incredibly amazing, gorgeous course.
Are you going to be out there?
Oh, absolutely.
Playing?
Oh, no.
No. You haven't found a golf club that fits just right yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
And they don't want me in the way.
I see. You hear a lot of this. Can we play through if you're out there? Okay. I kind of understand that one. But as a first ever, it's time to get out there and be in that first slot. And as a success, I'm sure there'd be a second one.
We certainly hope so, and we are so very grateful to both Discovery Land Company and the McKenna Golf and Beach Club for hosting this tournament for us at no expense to Nahaleo, Maui.
Wow.
So all of the funds that come in for this will help us with the Kahoma project.
Wonderful. Gosh, that's great. That's the way to go. What if you had one thing that you could say to people who think there's no way they can afford a house? What would it be?
Don't give up.
There you go.
Keep trying. Come and see us. As I said, we are leasehold, but you can have it for almost 200 years with the exclusive use of the land without having to pay a mortgage for the land.
Right.
And a small sustainable lease rent. We've shown, at least on 33 homes, that people that had no expectation that they could ever own a home in Maui, it's worked. They're there.
Right.
We share some of the appreciation. So the few homeowners we have that have sold have left with more money than they came into our program with, and some have even moved up to market rate homes.
Wow.
So it's an incredible program that can help families that think that there's no way they can do it.
Now, we're talking about people who came in to the affordable project, bought the house, lived in it a few years, turned around and sold it to another affordable family.
Yes.
Affordable qualified family.
Yes.
So the house stays in the affordable pool.
And that's correct. So the best thing about it is that our homes stay affordable forever. where most of the other for-profit or affordable projects, there's a limited time on the deed, and at the end of that, whoever owns it at that time sells it, and it goes into the market, and you've lost the affordable unit.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part of so many of the projects that have
Yes.
taken place over the years, because some of them had very, very short terms.
Yes.
I think the shortest I knew of was 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
We're up to, what are we? Now that I've said that, 30 years?
I've heard 30 years on some of the
25 years.
projects.
We're
Yes,
25
yeah,
years.
yeah.
30-year mortgages, 25 years affordability on the project. Cassandra's great having you on the show, and I'm so excited about where you are now starting to move forward in this project.
We are too. We have high hopes, and I know that there are 12 families out there that can't wait for us to be ready.
Now, you probably have a list, I mean, because people join in and take these classes and so on and so forth, so they're ready, but you continue to take more,
Yes,
right?
we have another class coming up this month and one more in August. And this is, a lot of it is for the families that are interested in Kahoma. So we are continuing to do that. And we hope that we can manage to find more land, do more housing, and be able to place more of our families in those homes.
And that's the interesting thing. When we talk about that summit on Friday, we all talked about the challenges that we face. The bottom line is, and one thing I didn't say, which I was thinking, was find me another piece of property.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's do some more.
Yeah, and our families are more than ready.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Cassandra, for being with us. Nahali, Maui. Oh, I don't know where the time goes. Maui Nonprofit Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Give Paul and his staff a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Base Yard on East Oahe Way to see how they can help you with your building project. Maui Nonprofit Directors Association's mission is to provide personal and professional support to nonprofit executive directors, their organizations, and the community of Maui. Today we visited with Pua Enos, who's the executive director of Maui Hui Malama. You can give her a call at 244-5911 or check their website at mauihui.org. We also talked with Cassandra Abdul, who is the executive director of Nahali o Maui. You can reach her at 244-6110 or on their website at nahaliomaui.org to get more information on those two agencies. We want to thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to join us again next week right here, same time, Wednesday at noon on KAOI Radio, 1110 a.m., 96.7 FM, 96.5 FM on the west side, and 98.7 upcountry, when we'll feature two more representatives of our member agencies. Until then, I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. We learn so much every time we have a summit like that one on Friday.
Yes.
And it's like, take notes, people. Let's have something happen as a result of this one. Let's make this different from all the others, huh? So if you need to find out more about that summit, contact this County Housing and Human Concerns Office. And we'll see you later next week. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great week.
Aloha.
Aloha.